You know that moment when you stumble onto something so wild it feels like you're in a movie? That was me, standing in my backyard in suburban Maplewood, staring at a sleek black Tesla nosed up against my rickety old shed like it was trying to move in. An orange extension cord snaked from my power strip, through the grass, and right into Lisa's car. Lisa, the HOA's self-crowned dictator, the woman who'd been terrorizing our cul-de-sac with her clipboard and her smug little smirk for years. I didn't even notice the missing watts on my electric bill at first. It was just me, stepping out on a crisp Thursday morning to grab a shovel, only to find this high-tech vampire leeching off my shed. I laugh at can't help it. The sheer nerve of it, the absurdity, hit me harder than the anger. My shed doesn't even lock right, hinges all rusted out, something I'd been meaning to fix for months, and of course, Lisa, queen of exploiting every loophole, had sniffed out that weakness like a bloodhound. Her Tesla sat there, humming, like it owned the place, cord draped through her prized azaleas, plugged into my outlet like she was borrowing a cup of sugar. Lisa's not your cartoon villain, twirling a mustache's worse. She's the kind who thinks she's the hero, the neighborhood's eco-warrior, the enforcer of rules nobody voted for. She'd slap you with a fine for a crooked mailbox one day, then smile at you over her fence the next, like she's doing you a favor. In her head, plugging her Tesla into my shed wasn't stealing, it was resource optimization. That's Lisa logic for you. Efficient, righteous, untouchable. I knew confronting her wouldn't be easy. She'd twist it, make me the bad guy, probably file a complaint about my grass being half an inch too long. So when I saw that cord, I didn't march over and yank it out. I just stood there, watching her car hum, and started thinking. I caught her later that day, pruning her azaleas, big sunglasses perched on her nose, looking like she was auditioning for a reality show. "Hey, Lisa," I said, pointing at the cord stretching across our fence. "Want to tell me why your Tesla's hooked up to my shed?" She didn't even flinch, just kept snipping, cool as ice. "Oh, that? You weren't using it, Jake. My electrician says your circuit's sturdier than mine." "Safer, really?" I almost choked. "Safer? For who?" "Lisa, you're stealing my power." She waved me off, like I was a kid whining about a toy. "Don't be so dramatic. It's just a few kilowatts. You should thank me for not reporting your shed for code violations last month." That was a classic Lisa, flipping the script, making me the problem. I could feel my blood boiling, but I didn't push it. She fed on drama, and I wasn't about to give her the scene she wanted. Instead, I unplugged the cord, gave her a nod, and walked back inside, already plotting. That night, I dove into research Tesla batteries, power draws, outlet wiring, the works. The more I read, the more I grinned. Those batteries are hungry, but if you mess with the outlet, just right, reverse the flow, tweak the circuit, you can make them bleed power instead of gain it. By morning, I had a plan so simple, so devious, it felt like poetic justice. I'd let Lisa keep sneaking into my shed, thinking she was outsmarting me, but every night she plugged in, her precious Tesla would wake up deader than my old flip phone. I called up my buddy Mike, an electrician who's seen it all. Officially, he told me not to touch the wiring, but off the record, he was laughing so hard, he practically walked me through it. We rigged a bypass, flipped the current, and set up a dummy outlet that looked legit. To Lisa, nothing would seem off. She'd see the green charger light, smugly go to bed, and wake up to a car that wouldn't budge. The first night, I sat by my window, beer in hand, watching that orange cord slither back into my shed. I could just imagine her, tucked in bed, thinking she'd won again. Morning came, and there it was, her Tesla, stranded in my yard, battery at 3%, like a smartphone left on a plane. I sipped my coffee, waiting for the show. Sure enough, Lisa stormed out, late for her HOA meeting, and when she saw her car, she let out a scream that woke half the block. She yanked the cord, cursed at the sky, and peeled out, well, crawled out. Really, with what little juice she had left. The best part? She couldn't complain without admitting she'd been stealing. Checkmate. But Lisa's not the type to slink away. The rumors started by new neighbors whispering that I'd rigged my shed to fry her car, that I was jealous of her green lifestyle. One guy even swore he saw sparks shooting from my outlet, like I was running some mad scientist lab. Lisa had spun the story so hard. Nobody even mentioned her cord in my shed. I didn't bother defending myself. Arguing with her lies just makes you look guilty. Instead, I waited. Sure enough, the next night, there she was, creeping across my lawn, cord in hand, like nothing had happened. I was on my porch, pretending to water my plants, watching her plug in, pat her Tesla like it was a loyal dog, and strut off. The arrogance was unreal. She thought the drain was a fluke. So I let it happen again. Another morning, another dead battery, another meltdown. This time, she didn't scream. She marched to my door, pounding the bell like it owed her money. I opened it slow, coffee mug in hand, playing dumb. Morning, Lisa. Trouble. She shoved past me, sunglasses perched on her head, eyes wild. What did you do to my car? Your shed's destroying it. I took a sip, kept my cool. Lisa, my shed doesn't charge cars. Maybe you're imagining things. She snapped. I could sue you. This is property damage. I raised an eyebrow. So you're admitting you've been plugging into my property without permission? Bold move. She froze, realizing she'd slipped, then tried to backtrack. It's a community shed, Jake. Everyone uses it. I laughed out loud. Community shed? It's in my backyard, Lisa. Unless community means me and my toolbox. She stormed out, slamming my door, but I knew I'd hit a nerve. She wasn't going to the cops to have to admit the theft. She was trapped. Then she got creative. A few days later, I spotted a city utility truck parked by my house, two guys in hard hats poking around my meter. I strolled over, casual. Everything okay, fellas? The guy with the clipboard sighed. Got a report of an illegal power draw from this address. I nearly laughed. Lisa had turned it around, accusing me of her crime. I played dumb, showed them my bills, and they left, muttering about wasted time. But that was itched gone nuclear, dragging the city into her vendetta. The gloves were off. I upped my game. I set up a motion-activated camera in the shed, tucked behind some old paint cans, and rewired the outlet to charge normally just for one night, to bait her. Sure enough, midnight rolled around, and there was Lisa, sneaking across my lawn, flashlight bouncing, plugging in her Tesla like she was robbing a bank. My camera caught it all clear as day, her face, her cord, her smug little pat on the hood. I had her dead to rights. Instead of confronting her, I dropped a single photo in the HOA president's mailbox, anonymous, no note. The next day, at the community meeting, the president cleared his throat and mentioned troubling reports of unauthorized property use. Lisa sat there, stiff as a board, while the room buzzed. Her crown was slipping, and she knew it. But Lisa doesn't quit. She showed up at my house that night, all smiles, like we were old pals. Jake, let's not fight, she purred. How about a deal? I use your shed at night, and I'll get your HOA dues waived for a year. I stared at her, trying not to laugh. Waive my dues. You don't even run the HOA, Lisa. She shrugged. I have influence. It was unreal. She'd gone from theft to blackmail to bribery in a week flat. I realized then she'd never stop, not until she was exposed so publicly she couldn't spin it. And that's when I saw my chance. The neighborhood's annual eco fair was coming up, Lisa's favorite stage to flaunt her Tesla and her green credentials. She'd already told everyone her car would be the star attraction, a shining beacon of sustainability. Perfect. I'd give her the spotlight she wanted, just not the way she expected. I bought a portable projector and a screen, cleared it with the HOA under the guise of a solar panel demo, and set up near the lemonade table, where everyone would see. The night before the fair, I caught her on camera again, sneaking into my shed, plugging in her Tesla, same old routine. This was my golden ticket video, not just photos of her stealing in real time. The fair was all sunshine and compostable cups, Lisa floating through the crowd in a big sun hat, basking in attention. She stood by her Tesla, launching into a speech about eco-living, how she was paving the way for a greener future. The crowd clapped politely, eating it up. I waited for my moment, then raised my hand. Hey, Lisa, if we're talking green living, shouldn't we talk accountability? Like how we power our cars. Her smile flickered, but she recovered fast. Of course, she said, all smooth. I charge responsibly at home. That was my cue. I hit the projector remote, and the screen lit up Lisa, midnight, cord in hand, plugging into my shed. The crowd gasped. The video looped, her face clear as day, her orange cord unmistakable. She froze, deer in headlights, then tried to spin. That's doctored. He's framing me. But everyone saw the cord's faded Sharpa label her initials, her Home Depot brag from last summer. The murmurs grew, laughter bubbling up. I just stood there, arms crossed, letting the footage do the talking. The HOA president stepped in, weary. Lisa, is this true? She sputtered, ranted about community resources, but it was over. Someone booed. The crowd turned. Lisa stormed off. Son had asked you, leaving her Tesla like a stranded trophy. But it didn't end there. The fair became a reckoning not just for Lisa, but for the whole HOA. Neighbors started asking questions. Were her fines legit? Were her rules real? By dusk, the president promised a full review, and Lisa's reign was crumbling. I thought that was it, but Lisa wasn't done. 2 days later, a yellow notice was taped to my dormy shed. A 15-year-old fixture was suddenly a code violation, signed by Lisa herself. Then came noise complaints. One even time-stamped at 3 a.m. when I was asleep. She was burying me in paperwork, hoping I'd crack. Then it got worse. I came home to a city inspector poking around my shed, muttering about unsafe wiring and structural hazards. Lisa had called them, accusing me of everything she'd done. I showed the inspector around, kept it cool, and he left with a shrug. Somebody's got too much time on their hands, he said. That was it. I was done playing defense. I called a lawyer, Rachel, a no-nonsense pro my cousin swore by. I handed her everything. The video, the complaints, the HOA notice. She flipped through it, calm as a sniper. This is harassment, Jake. We've got her. She suggested a restraining order, but advised waiting for one more move. And Lisa delivered. At 3 a.m., I caught her on camera again, not plugging in her car, but unscrewing my shed's hinges, muttering to herself like a cartoon villain. I handed the footage to Rachel, who grinned. Trespassing, vandalism, harassment. We're not just filing a restraining order, we're suing for damages. Within 48 hours, Lisa was served papers. She screamed about conspiracies, but the neighborhood was done with her. At the next HOA meeting, she tried one last stand, waving her fake complaints, ranting about my shed being a fire hazard. My neighbor Dave cut her off, holding up the old HOA bylaws proving my shed was grandfathered in. I plugged in my USB drive and showed the room the latest video. Lisa, screwdriver in hand, tampering with my breaker box. The room erupted. The president suspended her on the spot, and she stormed out, papers scattering like confetti. But the real bombshell came when I checked the breaker box later that night. Wires crossed, circuits humming. Lisa had sabotaged it, bad enough to spark a fire. I shut it off, heart pounding, the air smelling like burnt metal. I called Rachel, then the cops. They took it seriously, filing a report, taking photos. Word spread, and Lisa's lies fell apart. Nobody bought her "Jake framed me" story anymore. A week later, the police charged her with trespassing, vandalism, and reckless endangerment. I watched from my window as they cuffed her in her driveway, neighbors peeking out, some grinning. For years of her tyranny, fines, threats, rules gone in a flash. The neighborhood changed after that. Meetings were fairer, people spoke up, the air felt lighter. My shed stood proud, new lock and all. Late at night, I'd look out at the spot where her Tesla used to sit, remembering her smug smile, her orange cord, her downfall. She didn't lose because of me or the HOA lost. because she thought she was untouchable. Rumor has it she sold her house cheap, moved to some other suburb to start over. Maybe she's already found a new shed to leech off, spinning her same old story. But I know the truth, and so does everyone who saw that video, who watched her empire collapse. Here's the thing: people like Lisa thrive on power, on bending rules, on making you doubt what's right. But when you've got evidence, when you stand your ground, they unravel. So what do you think? Was I too harsh, or did Lisa get what she deserved? Have you dealt with a neighbor like her, someone who thinks the rules don't apply? Drop a comment, share your story. I am all ears. And if you've got a Lisa in your life, maybe check your shed. You never know what's plugged in.